Okay. Let's, I think, move on to something else, which I think is probably more important and is
Mhm.
relevant to the Sijuwade discussion that you guys were having at the time, where he was claiming to be Catholic anyway. Um, and this is, I mean, it's related to what you just talked about. That, as far as your understanding is, it's Catholic dogma that Catholics must affirm and must assent to, that the persons are really identical with the divine nature. That,
Mhm.
meaning, in reality, there's really no difference between them, right? So I guess the question would be, what is your evidence? And I'm not asking that in a debating type of way, but what is your evidence for that claim? Why is it the case that you believe that Catholics must affirm that there is no sort of real distinction in that way between the essence and the divine persons?
Yeah, so there was a figure in the early medieval period. His name was Gregory of Poitiers. And Gregory of Poitiers, he had this idea that that the divine essence was a fourth thing. So the divine essence as a fourth thing. So kind of like a hyper realist. Like for those who know philosophy, this might be the best way of thinking about it. Like he had a hyper realist idea of nature, which was kind of up here as this fourth thing. And then almost as if like there was a species and individuals, there had the fourth thing up here of the divine essence, and then the three persons were participants in this divine essence. So Gregory Poitiers, he held this view, and at the Fourth Lateran Council, and Saint Bernard of Clairvaux very much opposed him. But at the Fourth Lateran Council, this view was dogmatically anathematized as heretical, and all of the Catholic schools, all of the Catholic theologians received this and professed this. Really is only a strange thing that happens in contemporary analytic philosophy that you have anybody deny this. This is what I'm saying is basically what any Catholic theologian from, I don't know, like 1200 to 2000 would have said, is that Gregory of Poitiers' view is heretical. Gilbert of Poitiers, sorry, I don't know why I kept saying Gregory. Gilbert of Poitiers' view is heretical, and it is anathematized by the Fourth Lateran Council. Oh, I think you muted yourself.
Sorry about that. So there you have it, guys. I mean, he's saying that based on the Fourth Lateran Council, and it's basically its condemnation of this historic individual who had same position. This is the evidence that you cannot hold this as a Catholic.
And
Now,
I make the point that this is something which is really obvious in the fathers, because when you look at the fathers very clearly say that the only distinctions which are found in God are found when it comes to the cause and that which is caused. You know, that when they're framing the Trinity and they're talking about real distinctions in God, they're saying that the distinctions come by way of relation. The distinctions don't come by way of the composite of some sort of composition between person and nature. Um, so yeah, it's for me, it's like, and it just kind of follows from all of the definitions which happens throughout the patristic period of divine simplicity.
mm,
There's a famous letter from Pope Saint Leo where he's talking about the relationship between quality and essence. As essence is nothing else than quality, or we would kind of say essence and attribute. Or
mhm,
no distinct reality from it. So yeah, this is really only controversial in a context in which Christian philosophers have been engaging with individuals of the analytic school, and they haven't really been able to defend the traditional position, so they try to rewrite the traditional position. But what I'm saying is, that this would not have been controversial to anybody in any Catholic divine in the year 1900.
mhm. Okay. And like I said, people who are watching this, you guys are free if you'd like, as a Catholic. Maybe there's some Catholics that disagree with Christian. I mean, that's fine too. If they want to come forward and try to support their claim and present some evidence to the contrary. I honestly feel, you know, obviously you and many Catholics would be disappointed that Sijuwade left Catholicism, but in a way, I can say that, it's what he believes, and this is kind of what led him to it. I think this is one of his concerns, because there was a question, I think, in the Q&A period where because Sijuwade had been making statements like, well, I believe that the later councils in Catholicism contradict earlier ecumenical councils. And it's like, well, dude, how could you believe that and be a Catholic? Because
Yeah.
if they're both, ecumenical councils affirmed by the church, you can't really contradict in that way, can they?
Yeah, he was just
So
writing like some paper a few months ago on like a philosophical case for the papacy or something like that, and
yeah.
it's unfortunate, but I do think that there is a very grave difficulty with public intellectuals of different religious traditions not
Mhm.
being committed to the religious authorities of that tradition and exponents of it, but rather exponents of their own views or their own different positions on something. I think that's very problematic because people deserve to hear from the religious tradition. They're not
Mhm.
here to follow me; they're here to follow the Catholic Church.